Welcome back. You're watching the Jacksonville History Show. I'm Harry Reagan. Our guests now are Daniel Bean, President of Jacksonville Historical Naval Ship Association, and Joe Snowberger, Commodore and CEO of the USS Adams Museum. Welcome, both of you.
Great to be here with you again, Harry.
And we've got a replica of the Adams right
There's the
here.
Charlie Deuce, soon to be in Jacksonville, as Florida's first and only naval warship museum, absolutely.
And this is very exciting, and it ties in with more excitement, which is the shipyards development.
Absolutely. We're so excited that the city is going to finally develop the shipyard property, and we're just happy to be one of many attractions to draw people down to downtown.
And it's kind of interesting with all of our coastline that this would be the first in the state of Florida of this kind, you would think.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And we're a Navy town. 1 in 4 of us is either in the military or a family member or works for a company.
Mm-hmm.
We have at the 75th anniversary of Naval Air Station Jacksonville. You know, and it didn't happen before now, but we're about to make it happen, and we couldn't be any more excited.
And so tell us, first of all, let's take a look at what it might look like. You've got a rendering.
Sure.
And we can kind of find out by looking at it where we're looking at the shipyards area.
We have a licensing agreement with the City of Jacksonville to open and operate the ship museum at the shipyards property. Mm-hmm. But we're all excited because the good news for everybody is that somebody's going to come develop the shipyards, be it Mr. Kahn and the Jaguars organization or whomever. And in all those cases, we've been working with Mr. Kahn for 2 years, and the ship will be part of whatever happens at the shipyard. So we expect to have the ship here this summer, have her preliminary open hopefully by Veterans Day of this year. Mm-hmm. And so we'll probably be in a temporary location for a little while, but we'll get her open and get the public on board, and then when the shipyards are developed, we'll move her over. She can float, we can take her over to wherever that developer wants her and make her the permanent home.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about it, Harry. She floats, so yeah. It's not brick and mortar.
So Daniel, what do you have to do to make this happen? You have to get the Navy's permission.
Yep. No, we're waiting on the Navy for final approval, but our application's been vetted by the Navy, so we just have a few I's to dot and T's to cross. And once the Navy approves the release of the ship to us, then we'll just take it into the shipyard in Philadelphia and do about $1.5 million worth of repairs, tow it down here, and then we'll do some more work. As Joe mentioned, we'll have a temporary spot for her on the shipyard, and then we will strive to be able to open her for Veterans Day 2015.
And Joe, the Navy likes to do this with old ships.
Yes,
right?
they do. There are 40+ Navy ship museums open in about 30 different cities in our nation. There isn't one in Florida or Georgia. It's an arduous process because they want to make sure the ship's going to a group of folks that can do her well, show her nicely, and make sure she represents the Navy well. And Jacksonville is going to get her, and we hope the public gets engages and checks our website out at ussadams.com. And this is a community effort. This is just a bunch of folks. He likes to call us the island of misfit toys. We think it's a gift that Jacksonville should have to honor our service, change the skyline of downtown. Our programming will all be focused on the kids, introducing them to the science, the technology, the engineering, the math, with a little art and history on the side. It's going to be an event centerpiece honoring our military right in downtown on the river, because that'll include Riverkeeper, Coast Guard Auxiliary. We hope to have, we're already talking to the Mosh and the Zoo and other established museums in the city to have a pass that folks can get to all of them on the river. So this could be one piece of a great puzzle in our downtown area.
It's
great for kids.
Great for kids.
And great for tourism.
Yes, absolutely great for tourism. You know, the Navy, Jacksonville already attracts over 25,000 veterans for reunions without really anything to do Navy related. So now if we're able to put a vessel in there, they'll actually, our anticipation is about 75,000 visitors. There's over 300,000 alumni that served on the Adams class or her sisters.
Including you.
Yes, including me.
Tell us about that. And
well,
this is really special for you.
That was my introduction to Jacksonville in 1984. I was a midshipman from Vanderbilt. I came down to Jacksonville, had never been to Jacksonville. I spent 30 days on the Deuce. We went to beautiful Gitmo, Cuba, for 3 weeks of that. But that was my introduction to Jacksonville, and that's when I decided that I was going to come back to Jacksonville. I really liked it, and it was a great city. And it's been, you know, I'm 50 years old now, so 38 years later, it's been a tremendous place to raise a family and have a Navy career and do all those things, a really full life. I've been truly blessed. The Adams was a part of that. So you mentioned the recruiting aspect of it. You know, a lot of us got our educations from the Navy. I was fortunate to get my undergraduate and my law school degree paid for by the Navy. We want to put the thought of the military service in the minds of the civilians, let them see it and touch it. After 9/11, you can't get on base anymore, as you know. And so we want to bring it to them. We want to have those children think about, this is how a way forward in my life. This is how I can make something even greater of myself. Even if I don't have the funding to go to college right now, I can enlist in the service, get my GI Bill, go to college, and come back and do what I want to do. So many different ways to view what this can do for the city.
And this would be a museum in the sense that inside the ship would be all kinds of information about the ship.
We will take folks back, and they will be able to talk. The commanding officer of NAS Jacksonville talked about NAS being a small city. Here's another smaller city. We had a movie theater. We had a library. We had a barber shop. We had a medical facility. We had a dining facility. So these 300 sailors went out to sea and lived on this vessel, and it was their warship and it was their home. And we'll take folks all the way through that and give them a sense of what life was like for a sailor deployed at sea for all those months.
So Daniel, talk a little bit about the mission of these ships, this particular.
Sure. Well, this ship was the lead warship in the Cuban Missile Crisis. It was the most technologically advanced. As you can see, all the different weapon systems on her. She was a scary little beast out there in the water, and so she was a very strong ship. Her ability to track incoming missiles and things of that nature set her apart from all of her other ships that had been built before her. And so she's the Cuban Missile Crisis, the 50th anniversary was last year. We intend to obviously highlight that aspect of it. She'll be the youngest warship on display in America. And so most of those ships are World War II, and so they're focused, rightly so, on World War II. We will have a slightly different focus of the Cuban Missile Crisis. But in addition to that, we also have to be very modern. We've looked at all the other warships around the country, and it's an event place. So we will have tailgate parties for Jaguar games. We will have weddings. We will sleep the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts. You know, Mr. Khan talks about the shipyards as being his front yard, or to the Jaguars. We intend to be the protector of the front yard and have a nice warship sitting in the harbor. You know, from when I drive over the Main Street Bridge every day to go to work, it's going to mean a lot to me when I look across and I see a warship sitting there, and I will know that this is a Navy town, and we will say for all those folks in our city, this is a Navy town, and now you know it. And
this is, needless to say, entirely compatible with everything else that's in that vicinity, Metro Park, the stadium, etc.
Well, if you've been to Baltimore and you've seen the Inner Harbor, I grew up in D.C., and you know, my father would take me to Baltimore for baseball games, and we would go to the Inner Harbor. And so we saw the development of the Inner Harbor, and they developed the Inner Harbor around their ships. They have 3 of them. And so they have a Barnes & Noble and a Starbucks and condos and apartments and things of that nature. And we think that Mr. Khan and his development is multi-use, multifaceted. It'll be a place for people to come visit, but also people to live. And so that's our world today. This will just be one component of that, to bring tourists and folks to use the retail shops and the hotels. The economic impact of this ship is $4 million annually, and most of that is the hotel and restaurant industry. And not surprisingly, those folks are one of the most excited industries to have us come.
The people developing Khan's plan and the city are on board.
Absolutely. As we talked before the show, twice the City Council of Jacksonville unanimously approved Jacksonville as a home for the ship. And we were the first project that the Downtown Investment Authority vetted. And so you know they checked us out very thoroughly and took to the City Council as showing that they are ready to manage the downtown projects. And the City Council, based on that, authorized them to move forward. So this is that first outcome of Mayor Brown's terrific idea, making sure that we have downtown investment focused on whoever's in office and whatever the changes is going forward. So it was a hard process, and we had a lot of partners in doing it. But here we are.
And then the second component, as you mentioned, Mr. Khan, we've worked with the Jaguars for about almost 2 years now. And so we wanted to make sure, we hoped that they would develop the shipyard, even if it meant not having the ship there. We needed someone, as you know, as a resident long-term, and thank you for all your service to our city, Harry, the shipyards needed to be developed. And so we went to them many moons ago and asked them, look, here's our project. We want to put it at the shipyard. We want you to develop the shipyard, but so could you just let us know now if you don't like our project? And they vetted us, did all the types of due diligence that they would do, and they came back to us and they said, you know what, we've looked at your project, and anything that we do downtown, you're going to be a part of it.
One of the things I do want to get across, though, is that we are a separate project from his shipyards project, and we expect to be open this year.
Right.
So we hope your audience understands that we still are encouraging sponsorships, donations. We're looking for people with talent and skills that want to join our team and be part of the operation and help us bring it here.
So people can help.
Right,
And participate.
Absolutely. So we still
absolutely.
are working hard to bring the Adams here, and just a couple of folks have assumed that now we're a part of the con process, and we want to make sure that, oh no, we're a separate entity, and we still need your love and support, and we want to ring you a billboard one day.
There's mutual support there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we couldn't be any happier about it.
And so people could go to the website and find out how to connect with you. And
Absolutely. USSAdams.com. We're raising money online, and we need volunteers to help us do some specific tasks and join our team, and there's some skill sets that we haven't quite attracted yet.
There's a lot of people in the city that worked on the Adams through Atlantic Marine and BAE. There are a lot of people that served on the Adams. We have about 1,000 volunteers, but we need more. We all have our day jobs, and so this has been a part-time job for us. Joe is our first full-time employee. But other than that, we have our day jobs and we have our own bills to pay. So we do this on the side, and so we need as many people to step forward. This is the project, the first project for downtown that will change downtown in over a decade. And we're here, we're on the doorstep.
And viewers will remember another attempt to bring another ship, and
Sure.
that didn't work out, but we're pretty confident.
Well, we think the Saratoga folks really helped us blaze a trail for us and opened a hole for us. The Saratoga was unsuccessful for a couple of different reasons, and hopefully one day we might be able to do something of that size and magnitude. This annual budget is $1 million. The carrier budget, such as the Saratoga annual budget, would have been much greater than that. I think $4 million would have been probably the target area for that, and therefore your visitors would have been much higher, the need to get that. Our studies, we paid 2 different studies to show about 150,000 people. That would be about $1.5 million. So it would have been irresponsible for us to bring in a platform that had a $4 million budget when we're only generating 1.5 in revenue.
Well, good luck. Thank you both for being with us. Daniel Bean and Joe Snowberger.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you for being on the Jacksonville History Show. And for more information about Jacksonville history, visit the Historical Society's website, jackshistory.org, or call 665-0064. Until next time, we're history.